Can you spot the lie? Welcome to Fact or Fake. We've got 18 mind-blowing statements that will challenge everything you know about famous landmarks. Let's begin. The official name for the clock tower that houses Big Ben in London is actually Big Ben Tower. Fake. Big Ben is the name of the Great Bell inside. The tower is officially the Elizabeth Tower. The original name of the tower was the Clock Tower. The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space with the naked eye. Fake. This is a persistent myth. No single man-made structure is clearly visible from orbit. Astronauts confirmed the wall is very hard to see. The copper exterior of the Statue of Liberty was originally a dull brown color, not the famous green we see today. Fact. Oxidation of the copper created the protective blue-green layer called a patina. This process took over 20 years. The Leaning Tower of Pisa was deliberately designed and built with its tilt as a unique architectural feature. Fake. The lean started during construction due to soft soil and an inadequate foundation. Engineers have worked for centuries to stabilize it. The Eiffel Tower was intended to be a permanent structure and was never meant to be torn down. Fake. It was built as the entrance arch for the 1889 World's Fair and was scheduled to be dismantled 20 years later. It was saved by its use as a radio antenna. There is a secret, small private apartment that the designer of the Eiffel Tower, Gustave Eiffel, built for himself at the very top. Fact. Eiffel used it to conduct meteorological research and host important guests like Thomas Edison. It is now open for public viewing. Mount Rushmore originally intended to feature the presidents as full-body carvings, but the plan was abandoned due to financial constraints. Fake. The initial plan was to carve the figures down to the waist, but funding issues and the death of the sculptor limited it to the heads. The artist, Gutzon Borglum, died before completion. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. has a subtle spelling mistake carved into the stonework of the structure. Fact. The letter E was mistakenly carved as an F in the name Future in the inscription of the Gettysburg Address. It was later corrected on the stone itself. The foundation of the Taj Mahal is made primarily of timber, which requires the nearby Yamuna River to keep it moist and strong. Fact. The wooden foundation beams expand when wet, increasing their strength, making the river's presence crucial. Without the river, the wood would dry, rot, and collapse. The Golden Gate Bridge was always planned to be painted its distinctive color, international orange. Fact. The color was chosen because it provides high visibility in the frequent San Francisco fog. The bridge's architect noticed the reddish-orange primer and decided to keep it. The Coliseum in Rome was occasionally flooded in ancient times to stage mock naval battles for public entertainment. Fact. These elaborate shows, called naumachie, were possible by temporarily sealing and flooding the arena with water from an aqueduct system. The subterranean area was filled with water. The iconic Sydney Opera House is covered with over 1 million roof tiles that were manufactured in the United States. Fake. The unique ceramic tiles were made in Sweden, not the US. They were specially created to have a matte and glossy finish. The Pyramids of Giza were built by slaves working under harsh conditions. Fake. Agricultural evidence suggests that skilled laborers and craftsmen who were well fed and housed built the pyramids. They were a national project. The Washington Monument's two different shades of marble are a result of construction being stopped and restarted decades later. Fact: construction paused for over 20 years due to the Civil War and funding issues, and when it resumed, they had to use a different quarry. The lighter marble is from a different source. The Trevi Fountain in Rome legally uses all the coins thrown into it to fund the restoration of its own structure. Fact: the coins are regularly collected and donated to a Catholic charity to help the needy and maintain the fountain. Approximately €1 million are collected yearly. Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro is made of reinforced concrete and covered in soapstone tiles for protection. Fact: the Art Deco statue is constructed primarily of concrete and then clad in small triangular soapstone tiles. Soapstone is highly resistant to extreme temperatures. The Parthenon in Athens was once converted into a mosque after the Ottoman Empire took control of the city. Fake: the Parthenon was actually converted into a Christian church and then later an Ottoman Turkish mosque. It was also used as a gunpowder magazine. Before it was called the White House, the U.S. president's official residence was briefly called the Presidential Castle. Fake: it was called the President's Mansion, President's House, or President's Palace before Theodore Roosevelt officially named it the White House. The name was already in use informally. How many did you get right? Comment your score below. Subscribe and hit the bell for more fact or fake challenges every day.